Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here with a pretty big CGC return. I say pretty big in more ways than one. So this is a 250 card return. I'm just going to show you the highlights. You see three pretty interesting looking stacks right here. 10 perfect 10s, 15 pristine 10s, and quite a few 9.5s. I had less 8.5s than I had 10s total. So I think it was 25 or 24 CGC 8.5s and then 25 between pristine and perfect 10s. Feels really good. There's been this speculation out there as of recently that CGC is grading easier. Very small sample size, anecdotal for this one return, but I will show all these cards off quick and then I'll go head over to the spreadsheet and touch back on what I talked about last week, and I also talked about this past Sunday in Patreon. Preliminary data is starting to come out, and it's similar to this one return. It's kind of anecdotal. It's too small of a sample size to say definitively, but I'll talk on it, and I'll plan to revisit it down the line because now, thankfully, we have a CGC pop report. We've got a lot more data to play with in spreadsheets, which is always fun, and I intend to do that on at least a weekly basis. I'll be taking a look and seeing what the new grade distributions are as they come out, but I really love the Amazing Rare cards. Super cheap. Basically, what this submission was a handful of Amazing Rares, some Celebrations promos primarily, as you'll see, and then a complete Hidden Fates set, less the Charizard. So the Charizard I had sent out in a higher tier sub with subgrades. These were all sent at the bulk tier in the fall with no subgrades. And as you can see in this final stack that I'm going to show you, we're starting off the final stack with a Pop 1. So I've got the Pop report open to the left of me right now. 900 Glaceon GX graded from Hidden Fates. Pop 1 perfect 10. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but feels pretty clean. Pop 1. So yeah, if CGC is actually grading easier, it'll be very interesting to see CGC 10 pricing. I've not followed it too closely because as I mentioned, 10 perfect 10s out of 250 in this submission with 15 pristines. So that's 25 out of 250, 10% 10 rate. In my first 500 cards I sent, I don't know that I got 50. In the first 5,000 cards I sent, not getting 50 10s, that's less than a 1% CGC 10 rate. And as I mentioned in last week's video, that's kind of in line with the broader CGC 10 rate thus far. 1.1% at the time that I made the video last week. So 1.1% through the first 1.3 million cards or so they graded. About less than 1% for myself personally. And then boom, this return 10% 10 rate. So yeah, that's all the cards. Let me lay them out quickly. Get the nice thumbnail with all the perfect cards. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you gotten any returns back recently? Are you going to start sending to CGC now? Another interesting tidbit. Bulk returns, though I mentioned this one was sent last year through a middleman, it took quite a while. I've heard anecdotal examples of CGC bulk turning around in 11 business days, 14 business days, a lot of sub 20 business days, 20 business days being approximately a month. If they're giving out more 10s and they're doing it in less than a month, there might be a play there. I will catch you over at the spreadsheet. Hey everyone, so quite the return there. You just got to see 25 10s, a 10% 10 rate, and 10 perfect cards, more than I'd gotten in my first 5,000. So my CGC backlog is completely cleared. As I mentioned, back in January, I made a video saying that I was done using CGC altogether. Potentially. I didn't say 100%. I'm never going to use them again, but I said for the foreseeable future, with the data that I had at that time, knowing that the backlog was fairly substantial, my returns were taking several months, and the new price point was $15 per card. Hopefully nobody thinks it's Hippocratic. Hopefully nobody thinks it's flip-flopping, and it's changing and adapting in light of new information, potentially. I'm not committed to it, but I might submit more to CGC. If and when I do, I'm not going to do it all secretly and then 6 months down the line show you that I have 5,000 new cards that I graded with an obscene 10 rate. I'll record a send-off video if and when I do it, as I have been on this channel since I've had the YouTube active. But yeah, back in January when I made that video, you were seeing 21% of cards getting an 8.5 rate. My personal 8.5 rate was even higher. Only 36% of cards at CGC getting a 9. About 1% combined 10 rate at CGC between the 10 perfect and the 10 pristine. Meanwhile, PSA's over here, 37% 10s, 36% 9s, given those high grades, the easy grading professor there. So yeah, new information, anecdotal experiences, but I've heard of people getting back CGC grading returns in 20 days or less, 20 business days or less, so less than a month. I'll recap this quickly. For those of you who watched it last week, great. If you didn't, I would suggest you go check out my video from last week. I did also deep dive this on Sunday and Patreon. Quick shout out to Patreon since I'm talking about it. I'm recording this on Tuesday, April 26th. You'll be seeing it on Thursday. By the time you watch this on Thursday, my office hour will already have completed. But today, Jake did his first office hour. New feature we're adding to Patreon. So we do the monthly Zoom. We have the Discord. We have spontaneous things here and there, but we're going to structure and schedule every week. Tuesdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, Jake will be available in Discord voice for that entire hour. Every Tuesday, 1 to 2 p.m. We're going to call it an office hours. You can drop in, you can ask questions in the chat or the voice chat on anything, on the markets, on what you're looking at, what you're thinking about buying, or we're not going to be giving out financial advice or anything, but we're going to be giving our interpretation of the market and our thoughts and opinions as we have been doing. So mine will be Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. So as you're seeing this, earlier today, I had my first office hour, which hopefully went well, but I saw Jake's. He had quite a few people in there, about a dozen people in there. I didn't hop into voice, but asking questions on whatever was on their mind that day. So yeah, just trying to bring more value for the same $10 per month. Now that the self-promotion's out of the way. Yeah, this is what I showed you last week. And I think the pie charts did a decent job, but after I showed them and when I was preparing for the Patreon that I did Sunday, like an hour conversation, I'm going to cover this all in 10 minutes, counting my return. So I can't get quite as deep, but I wanted to visualize it in a different way. So I went with the horizontal stacked bar chart that you see here. It's the same exact data, same data in the pie charts, in the table and here. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to see, okay, here's the whole 10 bracket, the 37% at PSA, 36% 9s. It sees how you see how it lines up. The 8.5 and the 9 almost line up, as do the start of the 8s, and the 7s are fairly close. But you can see the CGC 9.5 is fully enveloped by the PSA 10. Again, same disclaimer, this is all cards graded at each company. Not the same cards were sent to each grading company, but one thing that this will prove useful for, this is time-stamped to approximately early mid-April on the first 1.3 million cards of CGC's existence. The next several 100,000 cards over the coming months and years, millions of cards over the coming years, we'll see how this changes, if and how it changes. As of right now, we have a 1.1% CGC 10 rate. Preliminary data, my one 250 card, tiny sample size, 10% CGC 10 rate. Early data, the CGC pop report's been out for about 2.5 weeks, but early data is showing, I do have a stacked bar chart for it, but I'm not going to show it because it's way too early. I think it's too small of a sample size. I'll do a video in like a month maybe where we have over 100,000 cards graded, hundreds of thousands of cards graded, and I feel more comfortable that it's a reasonable apples to apples comparison. But preliminary data, 6 times, not quite 1%, but 0.7, 0.8% 10 rate, perfect 10 rate on the most recently graded cards in the past 2.5 weeks. Similarly, about a 5 times, so about a 4.5% rate on CGC 10 pristines. Will be really interesting to see how that develops over time, and I will bring that data back to you when I have it. That's pretty much everything for today. Definitely keep an eye out for next week. I'll do a video Monday. I'll probably do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have quite a few things I want to talk about coming up soon in videos. So next week will be a 3 video week. And yeah, in the next month or so, I'll definitely revisit this. You'll see a new stacked bar chart. But CGC might be grading easier in spite of that, or in light of that new information. I might have to make a play sending some cards out there to really get a bigger sample size for myself. I'm interested to see how the prices develop on these cards now that more are potentially coming to market. Are people going to be racing to the bottom a little bit, especially the people who might have paid a higher premium on cards like this in the past year and a half? A few, I guess, more questions than anything from this little bit of preliminary data over the first 2 weeks, but exciting times. It's been exciting, crazy times the past 2 years in the hobby. So more of the same, I guess. Let me know in the comments below if you're grading with CGC, if you think it's crazy to grade with CGC, if you've been burned too many times with them. I'm still not 100%. I'm on the fence right now, 50-50, whether I might do 100 or 200 cards next week just to kind of feel it out. And yeah, following up on my middleman video for PSA, I might be able to do, maybe I'll do 100 cards through the middleman and then 100 cards direct CGC, so we can do like a CGC video comparison on using a middleman versus going direct. Yeah, just some thoughts. Definitely keep an eye out for the videos next week. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. eBay affiliate links. I already talked about Patreon. As always, I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.